Good afternoon. So I'm taking this class because I don't think I'm very creative when it comes to thinking of ideas for businesses specifically. And maybe I mentioned in my paper I would like to go to law school, and maybe down the road I could open my own law firm. So maybe this could be of benefit to me later on in my life, maybe in about 10 years. Who knows? Or maybe I'll become creative and think of an idea on my own. But I had an idea, which actually came from my boyfriend, of maybe starting a computer business, like a mom and pop type of computer business to help build PCs for gamers specifically, maybe even like teenagers, younger people, or people that just have a passion for gaming and using PC specifically. I don't know much about it, but I know I see my boyfriend play a lot of video games, and he tells me a lot about all the gamers, and I see a lot of gamers like play, using PCs now, which, like I said, I have no clue anything about gaming, specifically PCs at all. But he had the idea of maybe starting like a local PC little shop, like mom and pop here in our town where we live. Nothing too big, nothing too fancy, but a place that will help you, that will sell the computer parts to build these PCs for gaming, specifically gaming. I mean, you could probably build PCs for other things too, but I know, he's talking about gaming. So I was like, that's kind of a cool idea. I know there's nothing around here like that. I know, like, even in the bigger town down the road, there's really not too many stores like that specifically for gaming. And we were just kind of talking about ideas and what would be in the store, which would be each component of a computer. Before I met him, I didn't know anything about computers. Like building a computer, I still don't really, but I know there are certain parts that you can pick out that are better than the others, especially when it comes to gaming, like the GPUs, like your monitors, your cooling fans. I think the memory that you use, like you can build all kinds of things for these computers. And when it comes to gaming, you want a really good computer, a good GPU, I know, at least, because that's like the graphics card, I believe, for computers. And I think in our area we have a good amount of younger people. I think there's also a good amount of people that probably game using PCs. And I also think that it would be beneficial too to maybe build these computers for people, or help them build the computers, together. Like they kind of go pick out their parts, and maybe they're not as advanced in building a computer, but that's where we would come into play. Not me, but maybe my boyfriend. I would probably be behind the books and doing the books, but of his, he could offer his help, and maybe they pick out the parts, and maybe for a little surcharge he could help them build it together, or he could build it for them. And maybe also we could offer, because I know the computers can get pretty expensive, maybe in our business model we can offer different tiers. I was thinking like a lower level tier for maybe like a younger kid that just getting started with playing PCs or wanting to build his own, something that he can afford. And then maybe somebody in the middle, like a little older maybe, but it's just starting out, wanting to build their own PC. And then of course you could have the higher end where you're a more advanced gamer, or you know more about it, and you want a good graphics card and stuff to have really good visuals on your computer. But I think it would be cool to start there, is what we were thinking. Just start with building, having those available parts to build your computer, and also us using us as a resource to help you build that computer out to what you would like. And then we thought maybe, if that's successful, maybe down the road, next, if there's a space next to us, we can open a like gaming lounge or like internet cafe type thing. Because I've seen these in airports too. I know Houston has one where they have like a little gaming lounge where you can go in during your layovers and play games. So we were thinking, if the computer end is well, we could maybe attach a little gaming lounge or internet cafe next to it, to once those people build their computers or something, maybe they can go test them out next door. Or we can have our own PC set up to where maybe people just want to get out of the house because they have kids, and for a couple of hours, they tell their wife, hey, what, can you hold, I'm gonna go play games for a little bit over here where it's peace and quiet. And it works well for everybody, because like you can get away from your kids or whatever. Or if you want a quiet space maybe, or maybe if you want to just mingle with people that similar interest to you, that could be also of a resource to you in that gaming lounge. So it begins with the whole building the PCs, like a mom and pop store, which I think is really cool. And I think it would take a lot of money to put into it. But I think if you were to get enough of a community and a following, which I think there's always going to be people that play video games, no matter how old they are, that could definitely work in your favor. And then I also think if that's successful, attaching the little, gaming cafe or internet cafe, as you would like to call it, where you can do maybe both, I think could be successful too, because I know there is a good amount of kids in our community. And like the spot we were thinking about even to build it would be near, the local high school, which could be beneficial. Where I was telling them, maybe because I work in education, I was like, maybe, it gets off the ground, it's going well, maybe, we can offer resources in the school and have, make a club or something. And then also those kids, being that they're in high school or something, they would maybe be good workers. They probably play video games, so they would be good workers that we could feed into our, store to have, part-time help, or, even help maybe building the computer, because they're probably more advanced than me when it comes to that. But that's just kind of the idea I had. I mean, I want to work through it this year to kind of see, in this class, how it would play out, what I would need, maybe how it would, if it would be successful, not be successful, maybe what I would have to really look into. Because I know up front it would probably be a lot, because computers are pretty expensive to build. From what he showed me, a few grand for, probably a mid-tier computer. But I also think it would be cool to see if it would be of, benefit for us, a potential, and also just, something because that passes time, for everybody. And I think it could be really cool to look into and just kind of play the idea out through the course of this class and see what resources are available, what, like I said, what we can do, like the small business, help that we could get maybe, and just see if we could take it somewheres in the future. Maybe not in a year, 2 years, and maybe when we've saved up a little more and we can start it up, maybe we'll have, what we need, like a blueprint to move forward with this idea in the future, because I do think it's a cool idea. I've seen the success of the airport lounge with just the gaming part of it, and I think the PC part of it is, like I said, we don't have a lot of that in our area, especially a mom and pop one that are willing to help, build it, maybe their expertise and stuff, I think would be awesome. So I just kind of want to, see how this works out, what I learned with this class, and if I can put it together, maybe, like I said, make a blueprint for this business idea, which is, it would have never crossed my mind, because like I said, I am not familiar with computers. I don't play video games. Like, I'm old school. I like to read. So that's what I do. But it would be cool, to have a little business that, could be, profitable, and also maybe, support somebody's passion down the road or something maybe. And, maybe it also keeps local teens and youth out of trouble, which would probably, make me happy, coming from the teacher side of me, to keep other people out of trouble. But I am looking forward to expanding on this idea, just seeing, what I can take from this class and put it to this idea moving forward. So that's what I'm excited for.